So what happens when the most dangerous boxer on earth decides to stop playing games? Tonight, we break down the most brutal beatdown in recent boxing history. Naoya Inoue versus Paul Butler for all 4 world titles. Most fighters rush in looking for quick knockouts, but Inoue did something different. He waited, studied, then unleashed absolute hell on Butler's body and soul. And by the end, you'll see exactly how the monster dismantled a confident champion round by round, until there was nothing left. What makes Japanese fighters the most feared in boxing? Japanese fight is the best fight. The most famous people, they were all really good. Naoya Inoue fought every good person in every weight class that he could fight, and some were great, right? And so that's the thing you need to have if you're going to be thought about that way. Open our era. So how does a teenage prospect become boxing's most dangerous weapon? Naoya Inoue made his pro debut at just 19 years old on October 2nd, 2012. He didn't have much experience nor an extensive amateur resume compared to Olympic stars. And yet, in just 6 fights, the Japanese fighter was already competing for a world title. At age 20, he captured the WBC light flyweight belt, setting a world record for one of the fastest rides to championship gold. And even back then, it was obvious this skinny kid with the terrifying nickname Monster was destined for greatness. But what came next shocked even the most hardcore fans. He demolished every local champion that he faced. 7 title defenses later, it looked like Naoya was on his way to becoming the greatest boxer in the history of the 115-pound division. But instead, he made another leap towards super flyweight, and in his first fight at the higher weight, he annihilated the reigning champion Omar Narvaez in just 1 round. And that was the moment the whole world woke up and realized Inoue wasn't just great, he was perfect. How does perfection hunt for more victims? One by one, he wiped out top contenders and champions. And each time, they had to be scraped off the canvas after facing the monster. By early 2020, Inoue held 2 world titles at bantamweight. After a few defenses, he got a shot at a 3rd belt and delivered a devastating knockout against the legendary Nonito Donaire in their first war. The fight was brutal. Blood poured down Inoue's face. His eye swelled shut, but when his moment came, he won by decision. In their 2022 rematch, Inoue showed no mercy and demolished Donaire in just 2 rounds to claim the WBC title. Now, there was just 1 belt left, the WBO title held by Paul Butler. The stage was set for total domination. So what makes a fighter believe he can solve the unsolvable puzzle? At the time, the WBO title belonged to British boxer Paul Butler, who had just won the vacant crown in his previous fight against Jonas Sultan. Butler had been in the top ranks for years, though he repeatedly fell short against top-tier opponents. First against Emmanuel Rodriguez in 2018, then against the fearsome Zolani Tete in 2015. But in 2022, he finally caught a break. He faced Jonas Sultan, a decent fighter, but clearly a step below elite, and won a 12-round decision to become champion. Soon after that, he signed the contract to fight Naoya Inoue. In the build-up, Butler was confident. He said he'd studied Inoue's weaknesses, that he had the game plan to pull off the upset. He stopped most of them as well, other than the first one. But you can't say it's a blueprint because he doesn't beat him. But look at the Donaire first fight with him, and I think there's plenty of gaps and there's plenty that you can see there. Butler was about to learn that studying the monster and surviving him are 2 very different things. How confident can a man be before reality destroys him? Butler broke down what he saw in the Donaire fight. I think his throwing hand's very good, but look at his non-punching hands when he's throwing. It's down. He's not very comfortable on the ropes. The British fighter had a clear strategy. I've got to try and push him back. I've got to try and get him on the ropes. I've got to try and get him in uncomfortable positions where he may not have been before. He went to a few dark places with Donaire. Butler promised to shock the world and dictate the pace of the fight. So I've got to go in there. I've got to get my game plan off. We've been working hard in the gym, so why shouldn't I have a smile on my face? And I'm confident. I am quietly confident I can go in there and upset it. He talked about growing into the fight. I think let me grow into the fight. let me get to where I want to be in the fight and we'll see where we go from there. Big balls and showing him no respect, but I've still got to be clever with that as well. But let's be honest, Paul was living in a dream world. He had no idea what was waiting for him on fight night. What does controlled violence look like when it is unleashed? December 13th, 2022 at Tokyo's Ariake Arena, Naoya came in with one goal: kill or be killed. From the opening bell, the monster was in full control. He used a wide stance and a piston-like jab to close the distance and land vicious shots to Butler's exposed head. Paul covered up in a high guard, hoping Inoue would slow down, but that just never happened. Instead, Naoya just got faster. The systematic destruction was about to begin. How do you destroy a fighter's soul before his body? Round after round, Inoue added new combinations, switched stances, and even taunted Butler by dropping his hands behind his back, showing complete dominance. You could see it in Butler's eyes. The belief was gone. He didn't want to be there anymore. The British fighter who had just talked so confidently about his game plan was now just trying to survive. Every round brought more punishment. Every combination broke him down further. Inoue saw the fear and prepped to show no mercy. What does the perfect finish look like? Inoue unleashed a horrifying combination that folded Butler like a chair. The body shots were devastating. Butler doubled over in agony as more punches crashed into his weakened frame. The British fighter tried to stay up, but his legs wouldn't respond. At 109 of round 11, the referee stopped the fight. Brutal knockout. The overconfident British fighter had been completely destroyed. Inoue claimed that the final piece of the puzzle, his fourth world title, becoming the undisputed champion and earning the status of the best boxer on the planet. What does respect sound like after total destruction? Even Paul Butler had no choice to admit Inoue's greatness after the beating. I thought, yeah, it's not as bad as I actually thought, but yeah, if I switch off at any moment and I don't see this shot coming, I'm out. So I knew that it had to be switched on. I knew that I couldn't switch off at any point. But surprisingly, you're thinking in the back of your head all the way through a training camp, God, if he hits me like that, I am gone. But when he did hit me clean, I didn't think it was too bad. The body shot caught me in the 11th. You can't do anything about it. Butler learned what every opponent learns. There's no game plan for fighting a monster. Naoya Inoue waited his entire career for this moment. Patient through every fight, building power while others wasted energy. When he finally unleashed hell against Paul Butler, it was perfect destruction. The monster became undisputed bantamweight champion by doing what he always does, waiting for the perfect moment, then ending everything with devastating violence. Butler came in confident with a smile. He left unconscious on the canvas, another victim of boxing's most dangerous predator. And if you want to see more brutal knockouts and legendary boxing breakdowns just like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're bringing you the most savage moments in boxing history every single week. Can Naoya Inoue surpass Manny Pacquiao and become a 9-division world champion? Who wins in a showdown between Inoue and Nakatani? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's debate the future of boxing's most dangerous monster.